And the late tackle doesn't matter because Treadray's got it.
You can be reported for chin butting a fist.
And it's not just your average chin. Treadray inside 50. Corns has got it over the top to the brother. Kane and Chad combined. Corns boys and the old Port jumper.
Well, it tells you something about the speed of the Port Adelaide team. First time inside forward 50, and they score a goal. And it only took about 4 or 5 seconds once the ball went over the 50-metre line as a penetration for them to score the goal. Carlton have been inside forward 50 on 3 occasions and yet to bring anything up.
Been great since then. Treadray also another good season. Long and high with the breeze inside 50. Corns the target. Good, no, not a good punch away. Free kick Corns.
There, but as to hindering his opportunity,
6 of one, half a dozen of the other, and Chad Corns drives it through. Port Adelaide's second goal.
Get it forward, chopped out there for the Blues by Davies, but now Choppy ends up with it. Byron Pickett inside the 50 with a tumbling ball. Here's Corns again, left foot around the body from Chad Corns. Got his second in a minute.
Talent there. Real talent there, and if you notice when you go right outside forward 50, Houlihan is chasing Byron Pickett, and the shepherd comes out and he shies away from it before the contact even comes. I mean, you've got to find out. Dennis Pagan has to find out what players can play today. Now watch Houlihan here. No, I don't want to be bumped, and he gives up the chase. Now Dennis would like to see somebody go to ground but at least thrust and just take on the body of that shepherding player. Consequently, that will radiate through the rest of the team for the whole day.
And he goes to the middle well to Cochrane. Now Jew, known long kicker of the ball, goes inside 50. Here is Treadray. Got the handball from the cocky. And spun it around. Magnificent goal. First goal for Treadray.
Well, 15 seconds ago, they were only a goal in front, and we'll just count from then about the 3.5-minute mark. The teams down the bottom end of the ladder, you notice that at the end of each quarter, they're the ones that get kicked. They have goals kicked against them in the red time. So, just assume from about a minute ago, they're -1. Michael Roberts, who's got Barry Mitchell with him.
Thanks, Dermot.
Che Guevara.
I always wondered if Brett Guevara's parents had a swap. He could have had Che Guevara.
Could well have. The turnover, Pickett short pass to Sean Burgoyne. And maybe he gets a chance here to actually kick a goal that'll count.
Yeah, that's a shank. That's a shank when they came out from the goal square here.
And really normally better than that with his disposal.
Yeah, they're the team that taps it on the boot and plays on the most from the kick-in.
Brother Peter still serving the last game of his suspension today. Sean had that goal that put Port Adelaide in front moments ago disallowed. This kick to put them in front again. And the goal umpire does not move. Port Adelaide by 3 points.
Disposed of the ball. Inboard he goes to James. James now Polton. 2 kicks from goal. Sets it up high. Cassisi parked in front. The fist will come to the back. The cockatoo Collins will kick an easy goal for Port Adelaide.
Sean Burgoyne takes the mark, feeds it off. Polton, shortish pass. James has a panic. He can go all the way. One bounce, inside 50, drop punt towards goal. Port Adelaide in front.
Well, sometimes you look at Dennis Pagan and he just knows where to go. He saw as soon as the ball got turned
Back forward, handball good. Wanganeen closing on 50, can stretch through to Feeties. And then inboard, sits it on the head of Corns and Treadray. Oh, they might have been stung, Dermot, in the half-time break, Port Adelaide.
Don't know if there's that much paint on the inside of the Port Adelaide change rooms at the moment, because Choco Williams would have torn a fair bit off just with his verbals, his volume. 15-goal better team as they ran out onto the ground, and yet they were headed by 3 points.
So Warren Treadray, 42 goals for season 2003. In fact, he kicked 41-16 coming in, so his conversion rate's been fantastic. And that's another example of it. 2 goals to start the second half for Port Adelaide.
It really becomes a mindset issue for Carlton now. They can't just say to themselves, right, let's really try and just shut it down and we'll kick well with the breeze in the last quarter. They have to play the rest of this game moment for moment as if each moment is the last time they'll ever go for a footy. They have to just shut it down as best possible with pure adrenaline and everything they can give.
Just a fingernail to spoil Paxman. Has a wide runner and it's Colton. He has space. Murphy tries to shut him down. The late runner. Kicks from half forward. High towards full forward. Waiting under it. Big pack. Jew. Shepherds. Picks it up in fact. Threads it to Cockatoo Collins. And he kicks a miracle goal.
Missed by Houlihan at the other end, travels the length of the ground, and Cockatoo Collins, well, he basically sits back off the pack. There's 4 of them go for it. It just sits into the inboard position. All Carlton opponents go for it. He sits out there. He's the only one left in space.
Generally knows how to celebrate a goal, the Cockatoo. O'Keefe was one of those players. Schofield ended up getting it to James. How much of the footy's he had this term? Got it to Burgoyne. Beautiful kick. And Pickett about 50 out, almost directly in front. 6 possessions for Roger James. And every one of them's been instrumental. And now Byron Pickett kicked 30 goals on the season himself as a small option forward. Dermot Barrett, and you had a look at him at the start of the game. He was criticised heavily, and he's come into his own. Look at this kick. That is fantastic. He has drilled it from 55.
Some of the articles written about him in the time when he was going poorly, it was early in the season. It was about round 6 or so. He had a passage through to about round 8 or 9, and some said he was a sad figure because he couldn't touch the ball, couldn't find it, and he was just trying to pick blokes off from the opposition. I thought, well, that still means it means something to him at least. His passion
affects the spoil. Fulton's touch was nice. Wanganeen outside. Beautiful mover, and Pickett has got no one anywhere near him. Can control the footy now. Stretch his weight. 55 out. Running drop. Pop. Oh, yeah!
Byron is back. Another 2 today. Great game last week. Most of the pundits had him as best on ground. He's kicked 2-2 today, 13 possessions off a half-forward flank, and plays it like a true half-forward flanker. Jared Waite is quick, and Pickett just shows him. Says, have a look at my heels as I go for those big ones. So the wait before it's through.
Byron Pickett, he's got it all. You might not buy your bananas green on a Friday if you know you're playing against him on a Saturday. But he can kick goals too. Material. And it's rubbing off on some of these poor players. Kasisi, here's one it might rub off on. Young in career, might finish it with a goal. Stuart Duke from the middle. Port Adelaide on the road.
Third quarter scoreline, Port Adelaide 6 goals for Carlton, 1-2. Which they were so good in the first quarter, Carlton. They've just been blown away. I don't know if it's lack of endeavour, but I tell you what, certainly is Port Adelaide raising the bar, running hard now. Wanganeen exemplifies that.
The handset on the phone.
Another 2.5 minutes with which to use the breeze, Port Adelaide.
Oh, they're back into show pony stuff.
Out of trouble. Now the drop punter, half forward, over the head of Cockatoo Collins, and waiting behind Kane Corns.
Just since over the last 7 or 8 minutes, Port Adelaide have just snuck back into show pony stuff. They're starting to not go for the first option under real pressure and try and find it to their teammates' advantage. It's almost like no, I can just do a sidestep here and a little balk, get balanced and just kick it beautifully. It's not that much, it's not that tough a game. Well, it is.
Big kick, 10-point lead, inside 2 minutes, starts at left, brings it back, and Kane, able.
He gives Scotty Camperelli the fist in the face then. A little one where he did last year when they beat Collingwood with the a missed kick on the siren, and the boys went to him. I mean, at least wait till you get 100 games under your belt before you start waving the fist in as a 250 game player.
What like you did?
Well, at least waited 10. He said, hang on, come on guys, there's keep it long enough so we can see him. Give it to Scotty Camperelli. There you go. You cheeky little, won't say it. That's when you're prepared to wear a
Strong saving mark at half-back.
She's been good. Bolton gets it to Burgoyne. Over the top now. Schofield can run if it bounces. Gee, it's sacked beautifully for him too. Around the body. Good kick. Cassisi. 55 out from goal. Chiseling ball to Treasury. Some nice structure from Port Adelaide, getting it inside their forward 50 and resulting on a shot on goal.
Well, Glennie Mountain's been brought into this game to play on Warren Treadray. He must have a good record against him or something like that. Hasn't played footy for 18 weeks at the top level. We know Glennie Mountain loves his footy and wants to play league football, but at the moment he's off the pace against Warren Treadray. And you have to ask yourself, in this last quarter, they can still win this, Carlton, but Treadray looks like the man forward to the centre for Port Adelaide who will stop Carlton. Do you keep going with Glenn Mountain?
2 goals, 1 in the afternoon for Warren Treadray. Look at that kick. That is fantastic. Benny Perkins has sorted him out. Warren Treadray's kicking him straight.
Then on the flip side of the coin, you've got to wonder who the options are. And perhaps you'd rob Peter to pay Paul. Maybe Kurtafidis could go down there and play on him. Maybe you could swap Beaumont onto him. Just see how you go. But at the moment, Glennie Mountain is not doing the job required of him. Got to get some takeaway out of the middle here, the Blues.
4 goals, 6.5 minutes is the equation for the Blues. Kick to half forward. Lapham was there. Treadray beats a couple, as he quite often does, and kicks it to Jude. And this might seal it. Chips toward the goal square. Run it down. Cassisi straight through the middle. Game over.
Once again, the goal is created by a 1-on-3 win by this man, Warren Treadray. There's the second opponent, shrugs that and lets the third go past him, balks him and moves the ball on. Super game by Warren Treadray. Not convincing by Port, but they'll get home.
He was just lurking at centre half forward.
He may as well be 70 out.
He goes back to Byron Pickett. They're trading him inside their forward 50 now, Port Adelaide. And Byron 40 metres out, 35, almost directly in front.
But the open goal square is thinking about playing on and spearing it low. Good play, wasn't it, by James? That's the creation there. That area between the true half-forward flank and the wing, that's the breakdown zone in a game of football. You win a ball there.
Kick 2 in the 3rd term, Byron. He's now got 1 in the final term. And they're celebrating at Football Park.
Well, the highlight there, Byron Pickett celebrating. Here's the Roger James. Now look at the traffic there. You think you've got to come inboard. No, he finds a side on the boundary line. They all think he's coming inboard. Just finds the split here. And Byron Pickett eventually, when he kicks it, he gives us the Hulk Hogan celebration. He gives us, no, not so much the kiss the Pickett celebration. Remember Hulk Hogan? Well, here we go.
Points to Cassisi. Now Beasy. Carr and Lappin. Lapping the handball out to Dew. Dew wheels around, left foot, look at Pickett. He can walk in and kick a goal here, Byron. He's going to take the mark first. Steps around, slung around, get the handball to Carr. Carr claimed perhaps when he didn't have it. Still going, Josh Carr. Byron's going to get it back and kick a goal. He's got 4. Port Adelaide have got 17.
Well, he did cough it up in the middle there, got slung to the ground, but one thing he does do, he follows it in all the way. He was tackled right on 50, so just follows it in, makes another number at the ball, way to numbers. He moves through the traffic as good as anyone. It's true half-forward flanker playing up there today.
He's got the ability, Byron, to make the very easy mark look just a little more difficult. Fingertips him and fumbles him around a bit.
Absolutely.
Sees the crumb, gives back the corns, maybe a chance for a late one. Spearing pass inside 50, Cocker to Collins, handball out, Lane, now Dew, left foot, round the body, straight over the goal umpire's head.
Well, it's getting to be the margin we all suspected now, out to 44 points with just seconds left in the game. Stewie Dew has been on and off the bench, 13 possessions. 2 goals now to his credit. Mark Williams, I reckon the pulse has just edged back a couple of beats per minute since half-time now.
May just have that first half on tape though, Dermot.
No, there's no doubt. Might be the recession they had to have
exactly
before the finals, rather than just go in and get piffed out in quick succession.